Hello and welcome to Palace of the Core podcast and YouTube video. I hope that you are having a good day. Today I'm going to be talking about the game against Brighton, which took place last night, and the recording of this video and, of course, podcast. If you haven't seen the game, as always, please do check it out and then come back and hear what I have to say about it, because obviously I will be giving you spoilers and such things as that. So, big rivalry between Palace and Brighton, everyone knows that. Well, every Palace fan and Brighton fan knows that. Not the, as the pundits were saying, not the, is it the A23 derby, something like that? Not that, it wasn't that. It's just a rivalry. Everyone knows the story behind it, so I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, it was going to be a big game for us. Previously, we had kind of, I would say, robbed Brighton at times. You know, we had the Benteke plus 90 minutes goal last time. So, you know, we were on top. But I think last season, we did kind of rob them a little bit, which is fine by me. But I looked at the lineup for yesterday. You had Goita in goal. You had Guinea, Ward, Anderson, and Mitchell, the usual back four at the moment. Gallagher, MacArthur, Milivojevic in the middle. So a little bit of a difference, but yeah, still quite solid, I think. And Ayew, Zaha and Edouard up front. So Benteke not starting the game, Edouard starting the game today. So that was actually quite good to see. It was good to see him start the game from the beginning, and to see how he started and how he went through a whole game to play for us. It was really good idea. Substitutions: Butland, Alesi, Kouyaté, Hughes, Matete, Schlupp, Klein, Benteke and Kelly. So quite a lot of talent on the bench as well, and certainly I know I'm going to be looking to wait and see what Alesi and Hughes can do when they come into the side. Hopefully they'll be getting a regular slot soon. So it was one of those games where we kind of dominated. You know, we really did. We dominated from the very beginning. It was going to be a tough game. I mean, obviously the Brighton Crystal Palace game is always a tough game. There's always high emotions going on, a lot of tension, not only between the fans but also the players. It kind of, you know, resonates with the players through the fans, I think, sometimes. But we were really started well. You know, we were pressing the ball really well. We were looking to get on the break as quickly as possible. We were challenging well. We were closing the ball down when they had the ball. So it was all going really well. And Edouard had a kind of a snatched shot at goal, which the keeper managed to save, unfortunately. But it was, you know, Sanchez managed to save. It was an easy save for him. But it seemed to be the way it was going in the first half. You know, we were pressing really well. I don't think Brighton got out of their half for most of the first half of the game. You know, they had little runs in and little attempts at goal, but in general, we were the better side in the first half. And you know, it was good to see the players connecting up well again. Gallagher was having another outstanding game for us. He was literally everywhere. Zaha was up for it today. I think that he looked like he wanted to prove something. He looked like he wanted to go out there, and he was on a mission. And that was a good sign to see as well. And you know, there was some toing and throwing, and there were sort of, you know, periods of time, I should say, when the game was kind of ebbing and flowing a little bit, and we were passing it from the back to the front. You know, we were trying to be slow in the build-up. And to Brighton's credit, you know, they didn't let us have a lot of chances at goal. It was a lot of it was in build-up to the final third, and then it wasn't quite working out. But we did have a couple of chances, and it was good to see the team pressing and playing well like that. We did get the break right at the end of the first half. It was actually 45 minutes plus 2, I think it was, when Gallagher was involved, as you would imagine he would be, and he decided, he received the ball on the edge of the box, decided to take a run into the box, which he did, got past one player, and then unfortunately got barged quite severely, and went down. You know, there was no attempt to play the ball, and it was a clear penalty from what I could see, and a lot of people agreed. And stepping up was Wilfried Zaha, who's always really cool in that situation. He looked composed and slotted it away fantastic. For, you know, a great end to the first half. You know, a big reward for what all of the pressure we'd given them in the first half, and I think well deserved. Going into the second half, there were no changes from Palace's point of view, and they kind of came out a little bit more upbeat in the second half. Brighton, they came out and tried to impose their authority on the game early on, but we clawed it back a little bit, and I think that for the majority of the second half, I think we worked well. I don't think we had as much possession as we had in the second half, but we were playing well again, and Gallagher was outstanding. He was throwing himself in front of shots, blocked 2 or 3 of them, I think, and he was just everywhere, all over the pitch. I think he must be receiving 3 or 4 players' salaries. I really do, because he's playing like 3 or 4 players out there, and it's great to see it. And I, like many people out there, are really hoping that we can get him on a permanent deal, because he's one of those differences for us this season. We've got a lot of good players, we're playing really well, but he is one of those outstanding players that's really made a difference this season to us, and so I hope that we can extend that deal to a permanent situation. And that's kind of how it went. It was a lot of ebbing and flowing again in the second half. I could see midway through the second half the team was starting to tire. They'd put a lot of work into that first half and the first half of the second half, if that makes sense. So things were starting to tire, and then around the 60th minute, no, it wasn't. It was the 72nd minute. I do apologise. Edouard went off and was replaced by Benteke. Similar situation to what happened in previous games when Benteke was taken off and replaced by Edouard. And Benteke didn't quite do it for me. He wasn't really he put in a couple of good passes, but wasn't really up. The kind of imposing presence that Edouard was. Edouard was running around all over the place. He was chasing down balls. He was trying to get into good areas. He was really working hard in that first half. But he was visibly tired. I mean, when I saw him being substituted, he was absolutely shattered. You could see it on his face. So he'd worked really hard, and obviously the Scottish League isn't, I'm going to be controversial probably, but the Scottish League isn't really as imposing and as pressurised as the Premier League. There's a lot more demand on you physically, I think, in the Premier League, and I think that it would take him a few games, I should say, to get back into the swing of it and to build up his fitness to the level where he can play a whole 90 minutes. But hopefully that's coming soon. He almost did it against Brighton. And then we had other players who were substituted. Milivojevic went off as well, and we had, who came on for him in place of that? I can't remember who it was now. Koute came on in place of Milivojevic, and Benteke, of course, came on for Edouard. And then around the 86th minute, Schlupp came on for Jordan Ayew, and I think that, again, Schlupp didn't do too badly, but it's difficult to gauge it. By that time we were getting a bit tired as a team, and we were working really, really hard to keep it at 1-0, because Brighton was starting, obviously they'd made a few changes themselves and were starting to impose themselves on the game towards the end, which they were going to, because they wanted to get the ball, they wanted to get a goal. But it did look like we were going to eke out the win. We were playing really well again. We were tight. We were trying everything to try and keep them out of the goal, and it did look like we were going to be going away with the win, and it had been a fantastic result. Unfortunately, right at the very end, I think it was 90 plus 5 minutes, Gaeta got a goal kick, and unfortunately made a bit of a mess of it, and it went in really low, and went to a Brighton player who passed it out to Mopé, who slotted it home and made it 1-1 for us. Well, for Brighton, I should say. And it was disappointing. It was frustrating to see that happen. It wasn't an easy thing to watch. But, I think that when you look at it on balance and you try and look at it objectively, I think it was a good game for us. It was a good result. It was one mistake that led to the goal that they conceded. Apart from that, we looked really quite solid. Didn't look really like they were troubling us to any great extent. And I think that when you look at the game as a whole, I think that we dominated it by far, the most of it. I think possession was possession ended up 53% to them, 47% to us. But I think that was towards the later end of the game. Certainly most of the first half and probably much of the second half, we were dominating, I think. And I think that it was just that one mistake which caused them to score a goal. Otherwise, I don't think they would have got one. They had 4 shots on target, we had 3. It was 2 apiece off target shots. Corners, we edged it 6-5, and passes completed slightly more by Brighton than by us, but a lot of their passing was in their own half, not a lot going forward. And so, you know, the stats were really good. I think that we did a good job. I think Vieira's got us going on the right track. We're moving forward in the way that we want to move forward. I think goals need to come now. I think that's one of the things that we're lacking is you know, we're making a great progress up until the final third. It's just converting that into goals that we're having a bit of an issue with at the moment, but that will come. I mean, we've got Lacey to come in. Hughes is going to make a difference. I think that AU, you know, I have to say AU I think is probably past his prime at Palace. I think he's past his time here. I think he needs to move on. I think we need to get new players in. Or, you know, not into the club, but we need to replace him with somebody else, because I don't think AU was really, you know, he missed a sitter in the first half, which I didn't mention. He got the ball literally almost an open goal and he put it past the post. It was a, you know, for someone who is a striker and who has scored some very good goals for us in the past, it was a big miss. And I think if it had been Edouard or Zaha or somebody else up there, that wouldn't have gone far the post, that would have gone in. So it was a big disappointment for us in that situation as well. And I think really he needs to be substituted and somebody else brought into his place. Milivojevic played well again, but looked a little bit out of place. It might be just the case that we're waiting for Hughes to get fit, you know, because I think Vieira wants a very fit squad because of the style of play that we're going to have with him. So I think he may be working on the fitness of Hughes to get him up to game standard. But you know, it's going to be a little bit of a way before we see the very best team that we can. You know, Lacey, I think he will come in soon enough as well. You've got Eze to come back, so we've got some positive players to come in, which I think will make a big difference for us. In general, though, I think everyone else played really well. I mean, Gallagher was everywhere, every blade of grass again, absolutely fantastic. The team worked well as a unit. Gaeta played really well apart from that final mistake at the end, but I think he played well apart from that. I don't think it was necessarily, you know, there are some people saying they don't trust him now. I don't think it's that case. I think he's worked really hard and he's saved us on more occasions than he's cost us. So I think that on balance he's definitely the best keeper for us at the moment. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think of the game? Do you believe that the Gaeta was, you know, is a liability? Do you think it's a liability in goal, or do you think that it was just a one-off mistake? I think it was just a one-off mistake. But let me know what you think. What do you think about AU? Do you think he needs to play more games, or do you think he needs to move on now and get somebody else to come in? I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can let me know on Twitter and on Instagram, where I'm going to be on there quite a lot. I'm also going to be starting a blog, so you can catch hold of that as well, Palace to the Core. I'll be leaving a link to that in the future episodes when that comes out. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed the game. I certainly did. And until next time, we've got a couple of difficult games coming up. We've got Leicester and Arsenal. Arsenal playing really well at the moment. Leicester seem to be finding their feet, so they're going to be 2 tough games for us. So it's going to be, remains to see what happens there. So until next time, thank you for joining me, and goodbye.